Nation FM.
So we will have an update on South Africa's extension with regard to a vote on Russia that happened overnight. Very important issue, by the way. That's one that I think is important. The other one, I don't know if you know this, Professor Qureisha Abdul Karim, the wife of Professor Salim Abdul Karim. I mean, she's a legend in her own right. She's been conferred a degree as a doctor of science by Rhodes University, like today, this morning, as we speak, which I think is just fantastic. Now, as far as the how-to in Ramadan, I'm going to rely on you, okay? What else do you want us to cover with regard to the how-to? We've covered how to keep fit during Ramadan while you're fasting. We've covered how to keep your concentration during Tarawih Salah. There's been a couple of more. How to engage with non-Muslims during Ramadan, and what else should we talk about? You tell me. Just WhatsApp us, probably the best way to do it. I will certainly take your advice or post it on our social media platforms. Maulana Ibrahim Baum coming up just now, but to get us there, Maulana Mohammed Tariq is with us, who's a Muslim scholar based in Phoenix in KZN. Maulana Mohammed Tariq, appreciate your time. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to you and the listeners of Salam Media.
Thank you. Now, you've got this big responsibility of guiding me and guiding everybody else engaged to this show right now in terms of answering the how-to. How do you maintain patience and sabr while you are fasting when often enough the mood agitates differently?
I think one must consider is that fasting, what is fasting? Fasting is not only abstaining from eating and drinking, but fasting is also a month of patience. And if we start off from the Holy Quran. The Quran says, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu kutiba alaykum as-siyamu kama kutiba ala allazina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. O ye who believe, fast has been prescribed to those before you so that you may receive piety and taqwa. So the name of the month of Ramadan is a month of patience. And remember, patience, as the Quran says, in Allah ma'as-sabirin, that certainly Allah are with those that are patient. Now, patience is something, often we find that we too fast, but we cannot be patient. Often you find, I'll give you a mere example. You go to a shopping center, you're coming out of a parking, someone does something or taking too long, we start to press the hooter, we start to get angry, we start to get frustrated. These things obviously cause damages to our fast and our rosa. When we say we are rosa, we are fasting. So basically, all parts of our body are fasting, our entire structure of our body is fasting. And the patience, as I said, the next name for the month of Ramadan is the month of patience, is a month of sympathy, is a month of compassion. But here in particular, we're dealing is a month of patience. We must understand that, yes, if we are fasting, if we are Rozadar, for example, if someone has to provoke you, someone has to frustrate you, the answer to a Rozadar, a person who is giving fast, should say, listen, I'm fasting. Surrender to that person, I'm fasting. Let's not get into an argument. The whole idea is this 1 month is a cause for us to live the other 11 months of our lives in terms of, yes, how can we receive piety? How can we receive taqwa? How can we make this patience be part of our life? And patience is something we need it in all the time. We look at the mere thing at iftar. When we're going to break iftar, the women have a major chores in the household in preparing the iftar. But you would find generally the men, what they would do now, if the tea, for example, is not made on time or they delayed with something, we often find that disputes will take place, and in domestic violence and disputes get higher in the month of Ramadan. But it's not supposed to be like this, because we need to understand, yes, we are fasting, we must develop the patience with us, we must bring the patience within us and say, yes, I am fasting. Even if someone has to provoke you to such an extent, it's not about defeat. But tell the person, yes, I am fasting. Because the whole idea of keeping fast, as the Quran says, that you may receive piety, you may receive taqwa, you may become self-disciplined, you may become self-disciplined in order for us to live from this Ramadan to the next Ramadan. And that is something that we take off. We find that often people think fasting is to stay away from food and stay away from everything else, as much as in most food. But yes, the entire body is fasting. Your eyes should not see something that obviously is unlawful. Your mouth should not be saying something that is unlawful. So the entire part of your body is fasting, and patience is something that is needed in all. As a Muslim, practically, patience is something that should be the root foundation in our life.
Yeah, but it's interesting what you say, because I'm looking at the trigger. If we're saying, and I'm translating loosely, we say, fasting is prescribed for you so that you may attain piety, so taqwa, right? And you mentioned the fact that many people, there's an increase of domestic violence in Ramadan, which I must say is a frightening thought if that is true, right? But if that is true, and I'm hoping it's not the case, right? If that is true, then if people have been fasting for years and years and years on end, and they still don't attain that piety in Ramadan, there's something completely wrong in how they approach that fast. So how would you suggest there's a switch on change so they are more aware that fasting is for you to attain your piety?
I think when the people generally, when they fast, they mood, obviously they're frustrated. They become, because of the hunger and the thirst, it overpowers most of the part of the body in terms of how they should function. But remember, even the mere fact of just making wuzu and reading salah brings calmness in your life and calmness in your body. That is why even it's prescribed, if you are angry, make wuzu or wash your face instead, so that you can become calm and you can become cool. Often you would find that when people are fasting, they get into disputes. Now, the dispute should not come because obviously you are fasting. If you realize, yes, I am fasting, be silent. But sometimes you would find that this is not how people are really looking at it. And then this is where the acts are now coming into where it's going to take steal the sawab from our rosa. And we must find that what is more, the reward of a person who's fasting, what reward comes? There's no better reward for him than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewards that person. So
Yeah, yeah,
nothing more can come in between for us to temper that rosa it is there. And this is what we need to understand. To be calm, to be relaxed, to be patient, to see it in other how it is. And we must understand, yes, we must also look at the bounty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. He's given us, probably when we sit for iftar on the table, we have probably 10 savories and 15 other dishes on the year. But there are people who don't have this here. But if someone is 5 minutes late in bringing this, remember that person could be Rozadar. Nothing stops a man also to help a lady in the kitchen. The husband can help the lady in the preparations of Rosa, in the preparations of Iftar. There is simply nothing wrong with this here. But if we look at patience, now patience has to come by all means of work. It should start from the head of the family, should prescribe, yes, we all need to be patient, we all need to relax. Why? Because we are keeping Rosa, we are keeping fast. Some people merely get frustrated because they cannot have a cigarette in their mouth. The first thing is when they make Iftar is they want a cigarette to be in their mouth. We need to understand self-discipline. If whole day you could stay without it, you can. It is in your mind how you
yeah.
operate and how you bring this here.
Okay, Shukran. Appreciate your time. There you are, some important nasiha, important advices that you've delivered here on the Ashraf Garda show. Thank you so much for your time, Maulana Mohammed Tariq. And we pray, inshallah, that for yourself and your family, not only with the rest of the Ramadan fasting will be good, but also that you attain that high level of taqwa, of piety that we all aspire to. Inshallah. Thank you for your time. As far Walaikum salam. And here's a call out to you. So that's the daily how-to feature. What else should we feature on the how-to in of Ramadan? Someone said, well, how to maintain a good healthy diet in Ramadan, but there could be other ideas. Okay, how to invite people home who are not of the Muslim faith in Ramadan, how to invite them and how to play out that invitation, which I think is another interesting one. Your thoughts, your advice, 0617660355. We should be checking, inshallah, to Maulana Ibrahim Bam shortly, but also an update on South Africa's position with regard to Russia with an important UN vote that took place overnight, right after this.